What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the show. My guest today is the owner of a company called Scrap Metal Removers, or S.M.R for short. We got into things like starting a business, treasure hunting, magnet fishing, and some of the strange things that you'll find in people's homes. Give it up for my friend, Paul Mongelli, aka The Monge.
Talking into the microphone.
Did you bring the knife everywhere with you?
Yes.
Okay, so talk about the business. How did you get into it?
How did I get into it?
Yeah, how'd you start?
Well, my family has always been in the garbage business.
Okay.
My great-grandfather started it, and then it's passed down to my grandfather, and then my father. Then they got out of the garbage business, and then it was an idea. It was My father was working for. He was driving trucks at the time, and I was delivering pizza. And then, come around winter time, he got laid off from his job for a little bit, which was normal for some places. And I was still delivering pizza, and I wasn't, I was making money, but I was kind of getting tired of driving the car around, beating my car up and stuff, putting miles on it, and this and that. So I had an idea, and I asked him if he wanted to start picking up scrap metal, because that's, it kind of went hand in hand with the garbage business. My uncle would always save all the Mongo and stuff. He would save all the copper and brass and all the valuable metals and stuff while he was on the route, and he would cash it in later and make money. All the wire. So I said, you want to start our own business, and he thought it was a great idea. So I started the business, and he helped me along the way, learn this and that about it, and it's basically I wanted to do my own thing essentially. I didn't want to be working for somebody else.
You don't work for the man.
Yeah, I didn't want to work for the pizza man.
Yeah.
Or the man anymore.
I think that's a motivation for a lot of people to like get out of working for a company and do their own thing, is like wanting to make their own hours and stuff like that. And it's good having like a legacy sort of business too. You know what I mean? Like starting a business that's based off of something that your family member has some sort of experience with, so they can kind of put you in the right direction.
Yeah, it's your name. It's your hard work. It's everything shows. Everything pays off. It's whatever you do is what comes out of it. It's not.
Do you have trouble motivating yourself sometimes in the morning like I do?
Yeah, definitely. It's part of. But if you want to make the money and pay the bills, you got to work.
No.
You got to hustle. And in my line of business, it's not every morning I get up and I got to go to work. There's containers to do and this and that. I'll deliver containers and this and that. But it's sometimes there's no calls, and you could have a little relaxing day, but then you got to think about hey, what can I do to make more business? I got to go out and talk to people and solicit and stuff like that. So I have trouble, but like I said, if you want to pay the bills, you gotta do some work.
That's a good question. How do you guys get new business? I mean, for me, I have to I add a product and then might have to market it a little bit, or eBay or Amazon, where I added the product, does the marketing for me. But how do you guys find new customers?
Yeah, well, with my business, it's a lot of advertising. Like I got to advertise in the local newspaper, or wherever I can.
So you do the Facebook stuff, so
yeah, the Facebook. I do Facebook and stuff. That only gets to so many people. I haven't done the paid advertisement on Facebook, but I do a lot of advertising in the newspapers and stuff, and the weeklies, and word of mouth. Word of mouth helps a lot, and reoccurring customers and all that kind of stuff. And then I'll go out and I'll talk to other contractors. If I see a contractor on the road, I'll go out and talk to them, ask them if they want a container, the roofers and stuff, and they've given me a shot and they've reused me, and just word of mouth and stuff like that.
What's the best way to do it? Just like get exposure, and I mean, word of mouth is basically free too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't remember what exactly it was, but I remember hearing some sort of word of mouth campaign on a product a while ago, and what they basically did is they just told a bunch of like housewives about it, and their theory was, oh well, the housewives are going to gossip and they're going to tell people about it, and that's how that product came to gain exposure, I guess, over time. But
yep.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you did Facebook, but you didn't do like the Facebook paid for ads. You're saying?
No, I didn't do the pay for ads because I heard a lot of, I don't know, not a lot of negatives, but I heard some negative stuff. Like, you pay for it, you don't get too much exposure, and I'm. It's not like you. It's not like I could put up a new thing and sell it to anybody. I can't. My business is local. It's not like I could sell it to somebody in Japan or wherever you're selling or your
Right.
stuff. It's with my business, I have permits and stuff that I got to work around. So I'm locally, and I do my work in Putnam and Dutchess. So I can't go into Westchester and stuff. So it's when I do these advertisements, I do them in the local papers. And if I do them on Facebook, I might be reaching the wrong people that might want my services, and I can't supply them the service because I can't go out of county and stuff like that.
There's no way to set like your parameters to be local, because I know on Facebook there never used to be. So for example, like with Google Ads, I know you can set your parameters to be like the town that you're currently living in. Like you could set Mahopac, actually, if I'm not mistaken. But with Facebook, I don't think there was that option. Is that option available now, or?
See, I never even looked into it only because I was scared to reach the wrong people because we live right here in Mahopac, and 10 minutes down the road you get into Westchester. So I always I'd rather just stick to the local papers, but I could give it a try.
Right.
Local Facebook ad.
I had a thought this morning that what you should do is you should have your sister sing a jingle for you guys.
That'd be cool.
I remember someone talking about recently on another podcast I was listening to, just how like something like that just stays in your mind, even if it's stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah, catchy.
Yeah. Yeah, like Stanley Steiner, the carpet cleaner, don't you?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, when was the last time that you needed their service or used it?
No,
You know
never.
what I'm saying?
But I know him. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something like that. It's just like even if it's you know what? I would almost venture to say like the more annoying the jingle is, the better
More
it is.
sticks.
Right? Yeah. I don't know. That's something you should think about. That would be pretty funny. Do you guys do like expos or shows? I thought you had like a tent once at some sort of a thing that was right here on Route 6N.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. It's just the Mapac Fair. We did it 3 years in a row.
Uh-huh.
It's you get decent business from that, but you only get so much business from the expo. Like, like I said, I'd rather just advertise in the local paper and stuff, and
Right.
that's it. But I don't do any other expos or anything.
Gotcha. Yeah, I remember the company I used to work for, we had to do expos, and we eventually stopped doing it just because it was like, by the time you fly there, if you had to fly there, and then set up your booth, and then pay the 2 employees to be there, and then, uh, hotel, food, all that stuff, it wound up not being worth it because of the reduction in attendees. Like, there's just, you know what I mean? There's only so many people that you can reach.
Yeah.
I mean, especially in the local town. But on the other hand, you want to have your name out there. So it's like, oh man, what do we do? But if there's less and less attendees, it's people just want to find out what they want to find out online. I mean, you know what I mean? If I'm looking for like someone to do, a basement reconstruction, first thing I'm gonna do is Google it.
Yeah.
If I happen to see some company at like a stand last week, yeah, sure, maybe I'll, if I had like saved their card, I was thinking about getting that work done. But I feel like it's hard to justify that kind of stuff. What do you think the hardest part is about your job? Like, what do what's like really just, man, this fucker sucks.
The hardest part, I mean, well, not labor-wise, but the hardest part about the job is because a big part of my business is containers. So that's basically steady work in the springtime, but it's
like those
seasonal.
roll-off
Yeah,
container
the roll-off. I do roll-off containers. There's a couple parts of my business. I do roll-off containers, and then I do scrap metal, and I do demolition and clean-outs. So the roll-off containers during the spring and stuff, the nice weather, you got the contractors that are busy and the homeowners want to do stuff. But during the winter time, the homeowners don't want to do too much. They don't want to open the house up. The roofers aren't doing because of the ice and stuff. So it slows down in the winter time. So I guess the hardest part is just like the seasonal aspect of it. sucks because I'm not making as much, and
Right.
it's like personally though, it's
Like an ice cream shop.
yeah, like an ice cream shop. Like I don't mind doing much. I guess the only thing that sucks is when I'm doing the scrap metal part, and I gotta pick up a boiler, and sometimes they're like 800 pounds, and it's just a backbreaker. So that's a bitch.
Yeah.
And also the metal prices. The metal prices fluctuate, so that sucks too. You gotta hold on to your metal, but I don't have a yard where I could just stockpile all my steel and stuff. So when I gotta cash it in, I gotta cash it, and you curse yourself sometimes because one week I'll cash in a whole container of steel, and the next week the price went up 4 cents. And, you lose money on 900 pounds of steel.
Yeah, I hear you. Tell me about the demolition parks. That sounds like super fun. Like so that's like where you go into like a home that needs rehab, and then you take down like the drywall and you take the stuff out, and is that accurate or?
Yeah. And anything that people want.
With like a big sledgehammer.
Yeah. You use a big sledgehammer. I don't do anything commercial. I do smaller stuff, residential stuff for the homeowner and stuff. Like if they want to, remodeling the bathroom or remodeling the kitchen, you just rip it out. They want all down to studs. You do that.
That's
knock
gotta
out
be a
the
good
drywall.
way to get out like any extra energy or aggression. Yeah.
Yeah, those are always fun jobs. So you knock out the drywall, or I was renovating apartments one time. I would knock out the drywall, and then to get the tub out, I would have to smash the tub apart. And that takes wax and wax on a steel tub, and your ears are ringing after a while.
Oh my god!
But yeah.
That's it's actually a business that I can't remember where it is. It's probably in multiple locations now where you would they'd give you like a helmet, goggles, and a sledgehammer, and you've seen this before, right?
Yeah.
And they would let you loose in like
a big room and just break stuff or whatever.
Right,
yeah.
or like a junkyard, and you could like break car like doors and windows and stuff like that. Yeah, man. I mean, that's something like I always think about like how fun that's got to be. Like if one were to do like a rehab on a house, I would think that would be the funnest part. Obviously, because you get to just tear stuff apart.
Yeah, it's fun, but also it could be be a little messy at times. Like the installation part is not fun. Insulation gets all over you, get all itchy, or the drywall breaking it apart, or some old stuff. It's just the dust will go everywhere, and sometimes it's not fun, but sometimes it's it's just nice to get your frustrations out.
I did overhead lights in my attic, and out of the entire job, the worst thing was managing the insulation.
Yep.
Like I needed goggles, I needed like a kind of a suit thing that I wore, and then I had a respirator because it was so freaking nasty. And it wasn't new insulation either. It was insulation that was put in probably in like the freaking 70s. So when you moved it, like there'd be a cloud of yeah, exactly, cloud of that fiberglass nonsense.
Yeah, well, it's good you had a respirator too, because that stuff gets on your face. It's bad news bears. And
Yeah.
then you got to take a cold shower afterward, because if you take a hot shower, your pores open up, and insulation is all in your pores and stuff, and you're itchy forever.
I didn't even think of that actually.
Yeah.
I mean, I kept myself pretty well protected, but then I probably did take a hot shower, so like there was a few parts that were exposed, like around my wrists and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I noticed that got a little bit itchy, but wasn't
Yeah, insulation is horrible.
too bad.
Dealing with it, you gotta have the right protection and stuff, right gear.
So what's the coolest thing that you've found maybe doing something like that? Have you found money? Have you found a safe or something like?
Well, yeah, I run into a bunch of safes and stuff, but nothing. It's basically, I'll do clean out sometimes, and I'll find stuff, but not like safes and stuff like you see on shows or anything or whatever. It's not like I didn't find
like $30,000 sitting in the walls or anything. Not yet, anyways, right?
I didn't find anything spectacular or crazy. No money in the walls, no crazy stuff. Yeah, I found money here and there, like $20 bill or something like that, but not like a stack, of $1,000 or anything like that. Or
right.
Sometimes you'll find money in envelopes when I'm doing a clean out or stuff like that. But we get safes to remove and stuff all the time, metal clean out, so it's not like I'm finding that kind of stuff.
Right.
But
so people call you like, all right, we got a big safe, it needs to be removed.
Yeah.
Come over and do it.
And also, the junkyards don't even want to take the safes because usually they're full of concrete, so it's not even like
the safe would be.
Yeah, the safe is full of concrete. It's not the walls of the safe.
Oh,
you got the metal,
okay,
concrete,
yeah.
and then metal.
Okay.
So
Right.
when you bring it to the scrapyard, they don't
I
want to
actually
even
never knew
accept
that's
it.
what was
Yeah,
inside of like certain safes.
yeah.
Ah,
So
get the hell
so
out of here. I always thought it was just like a big like
just hunk of
sheet
metal.
of metal or
Yeah,
something like that. No shit.
yeah. No, so I usually just I have to bring those to the dump to dump those and stuff. But
Right.
the coolest thing, yeah, you find money and stuff, just like antiques and stuff. It's not
Mm.
nothing really comes to mind at the moment.
Like something like you're walking back in time almost, so you find
Yeah,
like an older antique and.
yeah, like older stuff. I actually like to collect like brass stuff. So anything
Mm.
that's like brass, like cool kind of brass stuff. Like one time I found a sculpture with like two Mustangs kind of bucking up, and it's made of
Mm.
brass. It's just cool stuff like that. I find brass stuff all the time. It's like made in India, like
Mm.
it's hand carved, like or hand etched, I should say. I guess stuff like that.
I feel like that's cool because like that sort of stuff you have to go out of your way to find nowadays. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? You're not just gonna find that in like a it was like a Home Goods or a Marshalls or
yeah,
something like that. It's like something that had a little bit of flavor to it.
yeah. So it's just it's nice to look at. It's not worth a ton of money. Just nice and different and
Man, I would have
unique.
so much stuff like so much junk in a personal collection because like I don't know. I have trouble getting letting things go that I like.
Yep, yep.
You know what I mean? So once I found something, I'd be like, oh my god, I need
Yeah.
to buy like a storage unit just for all this stuff. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I have a ton of stuff around my room that I found in cleanouts and stuff. Just
Mm.
cool stuff that I just display. Like I said, it's not worth a ton of money, but it's just cool in my opinion.
Right. Yeah, but it's interesting what people find to be garbage and what's not. You know what I mean? Like I would think like a brass statue wouldn't. That'd be something that you would display. You know what I mean? Like.
Well, yeah, the sad part is sometimes I get calls for cleanouts and people's parents pass away and
Mm.
stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that, and they just want everything out. They don't even care, what's in the
Right.
house anymore. They just want it cleaned out so they can sell it, and it's hard for them to look at or maybe even
Mm-hmm.
go through sometimes, and they just say, I want. They go through the basics. They get, if they had money or whatever, but they just want all the collectibles and stuff. They just want to get rid of it.
Right.
You know?
You ever finding like swords or
Yeah,
something like
yeah,
that?
yeah. I found swords. I found uh, nunchucks and just
Mm.
stuff like that, size and
That's cool.
yeah. You find weapons here and there. It's not
Mhm.
like a whole collection I've ever really found. I had like a pocket knife collection or anything, but
Okay.
I found like a cool thing. I guess was a cane collection. Actually, some guy had a cane
Like a walking
collection.
cane
Yeah,
collection.
walking cane
Get the hell outta
collection.
here. That's
And he had
awesome.
like 5 walking sticks also with it, and he had a whole little stand. So I just
Right.
have a whole cane collection at my house, just
Yeah.
for display. Like it's cool things, not just regular canes, but like some of them have like a silver top, or someone was like carved into a dragon. The other one,
Mhm.
walking stick, has like a man's face carved into it
Mm.
with a beard, a big beard. It's just cool, just cool looking stuff.
Yeah. That's really awesome. Like
Yeah.
I like collecting stupid stuff too. Like so like that is like not a stupid thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I remember when I was younger, like I would collect a lot. I've collected some of the dumbest shit on the face of the planet. Like I had like a, this isn't the dumb one. This is like a beer cap collection.
Yeah,
You know what
okay.
I mean? So like just the tops. And I was like, one day I'm gonna like saturate it in what is that clear stuff that hardens?
Whatever you want to call it, not epoxy or
Acrylic?
whatever.
Oh, epoxy. That's
Yeah,
what I'm thinking
epoxy,
of. Yeah, that's what I'm
yeah,
thinking of. Like
make
making
like
like
a table out of it,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
But I think the dumbest thing I've ever collected was I used to collect Powerade labels. Like I would just rip the label off the Powerade and just save it somewhere. There was no reason. It's not like if you got a bunch of them, then you would like
No.
get something for free. There's just
Get a
no
free T-shirt.
no reason whatsoever for it.
It's just something you like to collect.
Right. So speaking of collecting dumb shit like Powerade labels, have you ever walked into like a house that was like particularly gross or had like all right, this is a hoarder house or like something like that?
Yes. I've done estimates for cleanouts. The people weren't living there though, so
Mhm.
it's somebody that either took over the house or a family member or somebody that bought the house like that or something like that.
Mhm.
Basically, really, really, really gross situations. There was one house that I went to go do an estimate for, and basically you had to walk on top of all the stuff, and your head was almost touching the ceiling at that point while
Oh
you
my
were walking
God.
through the house. There was like 3 feet of just garbage
So you're
all
swimming.
over the
You're
floors.
swimming in it.
Yeah, well, you don't want to be swimming in it. It's gross. Like, and I think this person had also had like I'm gonna say like quote unquote the crazy cat lady, and she had a bunch of cats. They weren't in there at the time, but just feces and everywhere. It
Right.
just smelled like cat piss.
Yeah.
There was cages in one room, like a bunch of cages. I guess that was her or his or her cat room, and
Right.
just smelled like it just like the house condemned. Like it just you shouldn't be able to even step foot in there.
Right.
And that's it's.
You know what the funny thing is? I could
Crazy.
smell it. Like you're telling me about it, and I don't have, I don't own a cat, but I could smell exactly what you're talking about.
That was probably the worst hoarder job that I've run into, and then a more recent one. There was also another hoarder house. The floors weren't as like bad, like they weren't 3 feet of garbage, but it was just like there was like the kitchen they just had all the old stuff like containers, food containers, and old food was sitting out, and the refrigerator was off probably for like 2-3 months because this person had went I guess went into the hospital and stuff, and
Jesus Christ.
the electric I guess maybe got shut off or whatever the situation was, and just rancid food in the refrigerator like 3, 4, 5 months old, and just the stench.
Some science experiments in there.
Yes. The pizza box, like the mold was growing out of the pizza box. Like the pizza box was lifted up, from all the mold that was inside.
They're just making penicillin. That's all they're doing.
It was really gross.
That's disgusting.
Rats running all over, and it's just crazy.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. 'Cause that's the type of thing where it's like, okay, someone didn't technically let it get like this. It just got like this because of non-occupancy.
Yeah. Well, no. Well, I mean, yes, sometimes that, but I think this situation, he had he was, I guess he wasn't well enough to live alone at the, so he was not keeping up with the house.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Okay, someone that probably needed like a housekeeper.
Yeah.
Or like what do they call like a nurse's aide?
Needed some help, home care.
Yeah, that's some
like
sad shit, huh?
Yeah. So sooner or I guess later, he went to the hospital and wanted to clean up the house and stuff. So.
Yeah, I feel like when you're talking about a hoarder house, there's only like, especially if you watch that show, there's only 2 types of hoarders. There's one type of hoarders that collects a bunch of stuff, and they usually organize it pretty well.
Yep.
And the second type of hoarder,
just everywhere.
Like there's poop involved.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just gross. And
You know what I mean? Like there's some like I remember. I don't even want to talk about it. I remember seeing one where like people like someone was like, they didn't. Let's just put it this way: they didn't know where the toilet paper went after you went number 2.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They put it in the wrong spot.
No, that's funny. Yeah, I was watching those episodes, or not those episodes, but I was watching that show, and one time I saw a person that was a hoarder, saving their own fecal matter and stuff.
Oh,
also.
okay. Yep. Here we are.
It's like, why? why would you want to do that?
Yeah.
Just peeing in a bottle and stuff.
Those people clearly have some sort of like a mental issue. You know what I mean? Like it's someone that should be like seen by a psychiatrist or taking meds or whatever it is.
Yeah, and then you watch some of the episodes, and the whole bathroom is just full of just stuff and how to use the bathroom.
Right. It's something
crazy.
that I just recently like heard about. Like I didn't realize it was such a big problem that skeeves me the fuck out is bed bugs.
Yep. Yeah.
Did you ever have to deal with anything like that, like
No.
picking up bed bug mattresses? Because like I'm just feeling itchy now talking about it.
No, I've never that I've known of, and I'm always like careful. If I ever go to pick up a mattress, I don't know. Like nobody's ever been like, yeah, this is a bed bug mattress.
Right.
Maybe it's embarrassing, or I just don't want to tell you.
So you're careful no matter what.
Yeah, I always, I'm always wearing gloves while I'm working, and I never put like the mattress against my clothes. And then I know it's. They could always still get on you or whatever, but it goes.
You're reducing your probability of getting something.
Yeah, it goes right into the container, and I always take a shower when I get home, and clothes go right into the washing machine. So
it's such a weird thing too, is like the prevalence of that as a concern. Like I know people that I know individuals that do real estate, like that own real estate, that own like, let's say an apartment building.
Yeah.
If one bed in there gets some sort of one bed gets a bed bug infestation, it's like a huge fucking problem.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
It's because they spread. It spreads, and
Actually, what I learned that one of the most common ways it spreads is amongst old people by I don't know what the hell they call it, the home care nurse. Is that what it is?
Okay.
Like a nurse that goes there.
Yeah, because they go from house to house or whatever.
Right. Yeah. So they'll have it in one place and they'll transfer it over to the other. Okay, we gotta stop talking about bed bugs. It's disgusting.
And getting
Um,
itchy.
have you been to like any nice houses? Had to do work there, like
Yeah.
a mansion or something really fancy?
Yeah, I mean, I've been to plenty of nicer houses and
Anyone that had
stuff.
like a
It's
helipad?
no, not that
Okay,
bad or anything like that.
so
No,
a
nothing crazy, you know.
big house, not
Yeah.
like crazy mansion.
I think there's only one helipad here in Mahopac.
Right, that's true, and it's on that island. It's
Yeah.
on what is it, Canopus, or is that what they call it?
I think it's
The flank, that Frank Lloyd Wright house,
yeah,
but it's
yeah,
technically not.
yeah.
But yeah.
He built it or
Mhm.
the architecture. He had the plans for it. He made the plans for it, and somebody else built it.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, they need a helipad because I mean, how else are you
Yeah.
gonna get there?
Yeah,
You go by
exactly.
boat, but like, what if there's an emergency? You gotta chopper your way out of there.
Yeah, S.M.R doesn't have a helicopter or boat or anything to
Hmm.
do the clean out over there. But no, yeah, it's, been to nicer houses, no helipads or anything, but you see really nice cars and stuff like that. And,
Was there anything particularly cool that you've ever seen, like fountain in the front of the house?
yeah, it's just, just fountain in front of the house. It's it's basically nothing crazy,
Typical.
but big houses, yeah.
Hmm.
So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Anyone have like a Ferris wheel in their backyard
No,
or a water slide?
no, nothing crazy like that.
Gotcha.
It's like a sculpture of like a pretty big sculpture, probably like 10 foot tall, like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. One person had it and stuff like that.
So that is sculpture of the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Yeah.
That's pretty ballin'.
Yeah.
I want that now.
So.
So that's the person that already has the biggest fountain in the area, but then they
Yeah.
also want the sculpture.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Um, so you said you did marketing on Facebook and stuff like that. Do you have any plans for expansion, like hiring new people, getting more trucks, or are you kind of just keeping up with the work you currently have right now?
Yeah, I'm keeping up with the work I currently have. I only have 20 containers right now, so it's if I wanted to expand, I would need to get another truck and hire a worker and this and that and expand. But right now, I think I'm just gonna keep it small on the smaller end and
Mm-hmm.
just do local stuff and you know.
Is that something that's on the radar at all? Like, are you looking to reach a specific threshold, or are you like, okay, this is working. Let's keep this up and let's refine how we're doing it now.
Yeah, well, the whole thing will go back to starting my own business and stuff. I didn't come from money or anything, so I didn't have the money to put down to buy my truck and everything. So I had to get a loan and stuff. So basically, all the loans that I had to get and stuff for my first truck and the truck came with 8 containers at the time.
Mm.
Oh no, 7 containers actually, 7 containers at the time. And then I had to, work my way up, and I got another loan from the bank, so to get more containers, I got 8 more containers, and I just, kept getting more containers, and all that comes, so all that's overhead essentially. So,
Right.
I gotta keep working and knocking down the loans and everything before I could expand to be comfortable. You know what I mean? To not want to like have to panic of how am I gonna pay the bills and this and that. And,
Right, right.
I gotta get more because I go by call and stuff, so I don't have a steady. It's not like down in the city where I could get a bunch of steady contracted stops and stuff. There's only so many shopping centers around here in Mahopac and stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? So there's a bunch of overhead right now, and I'd rather knock the overhead down a little bit before I expand it. If
Right.
that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. I mean, that's something that businesses do all the time, trying to decrease their debt before they move on to something bigger and better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at right now.
And I know that we were talking about slightly earlier too, the thing about the like doing calls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, do you find that to be a way that you like to work, or would you rather have like, okay, clock in at 9, leave at like 4, or?
I actually I love kind of being on call. Only because I'm not like on call at night. Like I get calls and I go do my work in the day, and then at night
Right.
I just chill.
And we were talking about like a tow truck driver too.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
man, that's gotta suck. You gotta call at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
to, like,
that's hard work.
Or
right?
actually
'Cause-
3. I think. Yeah, there's like that one time, like it's just the worst time. You don't want to like
Yeah, because
be doing a tow.
you're like dead asleep and
That
you gotta wake up.
that
and
good sleep, that
go,
REM
yeah.
sleep.
you gotta go get your tow truck, then go from where your tow truck's parked to the accident, and you don't even know what you're dealing with at the
Right.
time. Like I heard, I know some guys from just being in the business and stuff. they get woken up at, like you said, like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning or whatever, just because they don't know. The sheriff calls and there was an accident. And the car is like on the guardrail, so now
Right.
they
Oh
gotta
my
spend
God.
like an hour after waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning out of a dead sleep trying to get this
Right.
car off the guardrail, and you gotta know what you're doing, and you gotta like be in the right mindset because you were just sleeping and now you're freaking
Right.
pulling a
It's
car off
probably
a
yeah, it's probably dangerous.
guardrail.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So if you pull too much, or you're too tired and you're like you're not thinking the right way, the cable gets too taut and you're trying to pull, and the cable snaps. You could kill somebody. So
Hmm.
it's yeah. I give props to the tow truck drivers and the EMTs and all the people
Right.
that have to be on call, at all hours or whatever. So
Yeah. It's got to be tough.
yeah, it's crazy. But I like having like a kind of on call thing. The only thing I don't like about it is it's when the calls aren't coming in, then you're not making the money. So
Hmm. Right.
it's on one hand it's nice because you get to make your own schedule, but on the other
Hmm.
hand, you don't know when it's going to be super busy. You don't know when it's going to die down. You know what I
Right.
mean? So if you gotta, I could say I want to do something with somebody one day, but then I get a bunch of calls when I got to take care of it. So I got to kind of cancel plans and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You got to work around what the people want essentially. So
Right.
so it's nice, but it's
Yeah, that's an interesting thing about what you do and what I do too is that we don't necessarily have jobs as much where you can just work more and make more money to a degree. Like,
yeah.
for example, like someone that works in a restaurant, I'd be like, okay, I want to take more shifts. They'll make more money at the end of the day.
Yep. Yep.
Maybe a mechanic will take on an extra job or whatever it is. I mean, for me, like, I'm at the whim of people ordering stuff that I'm selling.
Yep.
I can have 1,000 items listed for sale, and it just so happens that week no one wants those 1,000 items. Not that I've ever went a week without sales, but technically it could happen.
Yeah.
And sure, I could work harder by adding more products, doing little promotions and advertisements, and hopefully that works. But I mean, still, it could be a week or something where people don't buy stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all.
So you're at the whim of like what the customer's doing, also. You know what I mean?
It's very true.
Yeah. Yeah. If you had like all of a sudden someone's like, okay, we're going to invest 50K into your business, what would you use it on? Paying down debt, expanding, hiring an employee, buying a new truck? Like, what do you want to do with your business in that sense?
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess the most logical thing would be to pay down the debt first, and then I could always get another loan. And it all depends on if I just ran into the money or somebody was coming in as like a business partner or whatever. You know what I mean? If I ran into the money, yes, I would pay down the debt, and then I could always get a new loan, and I would have a truck, and then I could hire a worker, and all that kind of stuff. So
Right, right. I have not a problem, but like, I don't know, like trying to hire someone or trying to find work is, it's not tough because you could find someone, but like I have when you have a business, and I'm sure you've experienced this, like when you have a personal connection to your business, it's like you almost don't want to give it up to someone else to do portions of it. I mean, do you feel the same way? Like I don't know. I've had people work for me before, obviously, and like at the end of the day, like no one's gonna work as hard as you are for your own business.
yeah.
So it's like I don't know. It's hard to like give up money to that person to do like a job that's 60% of what your 100% is.
Yeah, because it's basically your baby, and
Yeah.
you want it to go everything the right way, and yeah, it's tough. It's tough trying to expand when you're so, I guess, not small or whatever, but like
Right.
when you're first starting out, and yes, it's your baby and everything, but I guess you gotta let it grow. And
Some people don't want to work either. I mean, and they'll trick you into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm a go-getter. You hire them, and it's like,
you're not going to get.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
I mean, we live in like a more, I don't want to say like privileged, like time where like kids just don't really care to work. Like, I'm not gonna step foot out of my house for less than $25 an hour. What? You're 15, and you have no skills at all. You know what I mean? It's
Yep.
like, I don't know. It just that's a tough thing to navigate through. I think.
Yeah, and like I was saying before, like if you wanna work, you gotta You gotta bust your ass. Like, work for yourself. You gotta kind of just bust your ass and do what you gotta do in the times. Like, if times are rough or whatever, and you gotta just keep going. Like,
Right.
you gotta work through it, essentially. Nothing's just gonna come to you and be like, here I am, you know.
Right.
Here's $1 million.
You know, it just popped into my head too the other day. Do you do any more like metal detecting? So I know you used to, and it's so like it's so interesting to me.
I want to though. I want to go again. I actually I had put the metal detector up in the attic after I had moved, and I haven't gotten it down since. But when I went metal detecting, I didn't like, you know, you see the YouTube videos of stuff, or you've heard stories or whatever. I've never actually went to a big beach. I went to these local beaches and stuff. And I
Right.
found some, like, you know, I haven't found, like, you know, a 24 karat, you know, 13-pound necklace or anything like
Right,
that.
right. Yeah, Flavor Flav was there, and he dropped all of his chains off.
Yeah, so I haven't made money off it. Definitely didn't make money to pay back the metal detector or anything like that. But,
Right,
you know,
right.
you found some cool stuff. Like, I found, like, I actually went in my mother's backyard and I scanned that whole thing. Around here is actually crazy because people used to, like, bury their trash, I guess, and stuff like that. So when I'm metal detecting, I'll be like, oh, you know, there's a hit. I'll dig it up, and, you know, an old can, and then you'll find like a whole bunch of old, like, glass bottles and stuff, like, you know, because people just used to bury the garbage back in the day.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So
You know, it's funny you said it too. So I remember finding stuff like in the woods. Like
Yeah.
there was woods behind my parents' house. I remember being younger and just finding like, you know, like an old Coca-Cola can from
Yep,
like
yep.
whoever knows, you know, or old like Pepsi bottles and stuff like that.
yeah, around here, there's you know, you'll find a whole bunch of old glass bottles in the woods
Right.
and stuff like that. You know, I found actually in the ground, I found like wheat pennies. So I guess, you know, back in the
Uh-huh.
day, people would drop pennies, and, you know, they were wheat pennies back in the day.
Yeah.
Found those in the backyard. When I went to the local beaches and stuff, I found, you know, some little pieces of jewelry. Nothing crazy though.
Mhm.
So, but nothing like I guess crazy interesting. Like, you find a bunch of kids' toys buried in the sand.
Right,
Like, I
right.
found like metal cars and stuff like that.
I feel like those big beaches would probably have something though, just for the fact that people are like losing stuff
Yeah.
all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm interested. I want to take a trip one day. If
I-
you want to go.
I think it'd be fun. I mean, do you have two?
No, I've met one metal detector.
Oh,
so.
but you know what? I want to talk about this too as a side note, but magnet fishing. I'll bring a magnet and just pull up whatever's there.
We used to go magnet fishing.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
But I was gonna say that I feel like people that metal detect get like a bad rep sometimes. Like I remember even on Family Guy, there was an episode where Peter was metal detecting, and they showed him in like Daisy Duke shorts.
Yeah.
And then he was done. He got into his busted up Volkswagen Beetle that had like a bunch of like crap in it.
Yeah.
But then I'm thinking to myself, like, man, just like, let's just say that you don't even want to find anything. Just like putting the headset on, just like scanning the ground and stuff's got to be so like meditative almost. You know what I mean? Just for the fact that like, all right, let me just do this and relax. You know, you're by yourself.
Yeah, well,
whatever.
exactly. Yeah, it's a cool pastime. You know, like it's a cool way just to get out, relax, enjoy the weather. You know, because you're gonna go when it's nice out. You're probably not gonna go when it's raining and stuff. Yeah, just enjoying the weather, enjoying
Right,
yourself. It's,
right.
You know, some people can say, "Oh, it's nerdy," or, you know, make fun of, like, "Oh, look at the guy metal."
Nerds rule the world, man.
But yeah, you just relax and have a good time. And if you find something awesome, you know, awesome. But a lot of the times you're gonna find like trash. You're gonna find bottle caps from sodas
Right.
and stuff, or pull tabs from, you know, just the Coke cans and everything like that.
Right.
So, okay, yeah, you're having a good time and you're cleaning up the environment too. So
Yeah, why not?
who are you hurting? Nobody.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's exactly what happened. We magnet fished for the first time. So you saw the magnet, right? Did I show it to you?
Yeah, I actually I used to have a magnet. It's, you know, like I guess a 1x1 magnet,
Mm-hmm.
like 1 foot by 1 foot. And I used to throw it in
Jesus, that
Lake,
big?
Lake Cassie.
Ours
yeah.
is not that big. Ours
Yeah.
is like 6.5 inches, I think, something like that.
No,
Yeah.
it was a huge,
Holy
heavy ass
shit.
magnet, and we used to throw it into
Right.
Lake Cassie and just pull up. You know, you'd find like nails and stuff from, I guess,
That's-
the docks. And
That's the only thing that we found.
Yeah,
It's funny
yeah.
you say that because that's the only thing we found. We took it to our camping trip up in, you know, the Adirondacks that
Yeah.
we do every year, and we drug it all along the bottom there. We're like, oh man, we're gonna find like we're gonna find an old musket or something like that.
Nope.
No, this is what we found quantity wise. the first thing we found, and the most of what we found, was some sort of like an iron ore that would accumulate on the magnet. So if you had it like dragging along the ground, it was like just really fine particles of dust that happen to be magnetic also.
From the bottom, it's all the iron in the.
Is that what it is?
In the.
We just knew it was something magnetic.
In the silt or whatever. Yeah. It's
right.
probably just all iron that's in the ground, because yeah.
So that's literally basically all we found, and then we found like some weird like little screws and stuff here.
Yeah.
And then we went to I think it was one of the marinas that was around here. We used it right at the dock. We're like, oh man, someone's got to have dropped their cell phone, a tool, whatever it is. We pulled it up. There was like 15 screws on it.
Yep. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, just from the docks and everything. Yeah.
And that's the extent of what we found.
Well, the only thing about, you're not gonna find anything like you said. If you find the musket or something, okay, that's that's historical or cool. Somebody might want it, but you're not gonna find anything valuable with a magnet,
right?
Because you're not gonna pull jewelry up, because gold and silver and all that stuff doesn't stick to a magnet.
That's true.
So
people have pulled safes up before, though.
Yeah, I mean,
they were almost always empty.
You see those YouTube things
where
they go like metal detecting in the rivers and stuff like that. And they found the safe, and they cut the safe open, and they found like a gun and $2,000 in an envelope or something. But
yeah, I would not.
Like I was saying around here,
I literally wouldn't believe if they found a gun. I'd believe it. If they found $2,000 in an envelope, I wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's what everybody was saying on the comments. They're like, oh,
right. Yeah, sure, yeah. Yeah, you found these $2,000 in $100 bills, and oh look, the year on them is 2019.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure this has been here forever.
Yep.
Yeah, it was. I still would do it. Like, it's almost like a gambling aspect. It's like, all right, one of these times I could pull something up, and it could be cooler. I just want to find a pocket knife.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just a freaking pocket knife. Why can't I find a pocket knife?
You know, a rusty ass pocket knife.
Yeah, anything. But I mean, to be fair, like, we haven't gone to too many populated areas. When we tried it in Mahopac Lake, we were on a boat in the middle of the lake.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what I was saying too. Like around here, I don't think we're gonna find too much stuff, even with the metal detector. Like maybe in the woods, if you go into the woods and stuff, and you'll find some old stuff. Maybe we'll find the musket from because there was wars around here and all that stuff. Actually, on that topic, one of the coolest things that I did find while doing a clean out was somebody dug up an old cannonball that was in their yard because they were gardening. They put it in the pile of metal, and they told us that they found this old cannonball.
Yeah.
It was just a cannonball that they found from back in the day.
Jesus.
At their house, that was just like buried in their front lawn. So I think that was pretty cool.
Aren't cannonballs about this big?
Yeah, they're like 6 inches, I guess, in diameter. Yeah.
It's funny because recently I was talking about cannonballs with Jen, and she thought it was like huge. She thought a cannonball was like a basketball. Yeah.
Yeah, they're I'll actually I'll have to take a picture and send it to you. I'm pretty sure it's still in my yard. Just cool old metal stuff that I found that I put in the front yard and stuff, like old tea kettles But the cannonball was the coolest thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of history in the town too. I mean, didn't there used to be like a railroad track running right through it? And isn't part of the bike trail based on where the train tracks were? Or something like that?
Yeah. The old railroad that used to run through Mahopac is they made the bike trail on it essentially. I'm pretty sure.
Right.
And you find I found like a bunch of old like pieces of track that people just have. I don't know where they got it from. I guess
like part of a railroad track.
Yeah, part of the railroad track. Yeah. So I have a couple of pieces of railroad track too. Just old stuff. Not super valuable, but it's just cool. Just jumping back to that. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, I thought I remember seeing like part of a railroad track by where my parents are, but there's no bike trail around there also. Oh. So I wonder if it like branched out into different like locations and whatnot.
Yeah, it might have. Just from my knowledge, I'm pretty sure, like you said, is where the bike trail is where the old railroad used to run, or maybe right next to it or something like that.
They had a really interesting, like, I wouldn't call it a museum, but you know where the town hall is, right?
Yeah.
If you go up the street a little bit, there's like a building and then it forks
in the middle of the road.
Yeah. Do you remember? Did you have to go in there during like elementary school and like right?
Yeah.
So you've been in there before. Yeah, but that has like, I mean, it's not a huge place. There's a bunch of artifacts about like a lot of stuff that they found here and things like that. But I think that's like, I don't know, there's an inherent, I feel like, nature in most people to like like want a treasure hunt. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, who doesn't want a fucking treasure hunt?
Well, yeah, because if you find
You know?
something cool, even if it might be worth, whatever. It's not gonna be worth $1 million or whatever, but
Mm.
it could be worth something. Like it's like a very small chance that it could be worth something. But
Right.
also, you find something, you want to keep it, like just to have it and be like, look what I found from back in the day.
I think 100 years into the future, though, there's still going to be like TV programs that like finding the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
Finding the lost Ark of the Covenant. Finding this, finding that, just because like people want to hope so much that they can find treasure like that.
Yeah, you want to go to Oak Island?
Right, exactly. Yeah. Oh my God. So
The show that just never ends.
have you've watched
Next
Oak
time
Island?
on Oak Island, we're gonna find this thing. Oh my God, old wood again.
So you've watched it?
Yeah.
Okay. How many seasons did you watch of it?
Like one, two and a half maybe.
Two. Okay. So you got to the third one. All
Yeah.
right. And now let me ask you
It's
this:
just the
did you
same
watch
thing.
it on TV or did you watch it on Netflix or like? a
I watched it
streaming
on
service?
TV too.
You watched it on TV.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend doing this just because I don't want you to waste your time, but you should watch it on Netflix. And
Okay.
here's why. Because after the second or third episode, you'll realize how much ridiculous redundancy there is.
No, yeah, that's what. Yeah, it's just.
Well, but you see, that's what I'm saying. You noticed it on TV.
Yeah.
But like, imagine watching it on a streaming service. Like, I swear to God, the first half of like the next episode is just the same thing as the last half of the previous episode.
Yep.
So there's really, however long it is, what is it, like a 30-minute show, which is really just 22 minutes.
Yeah,
without
well, I would
commercials,
get the
whatever.
commercials. Yeah, I would get the commercials and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So that would be like, so there was really only 10 minutes of fake TV.
Yep.
And still they didn't find anything.
No,
Right? Where
no.
they find like a coin or something.
Well, yeah, no, that was the thing. They were like, "Oh, more wood. That means that this is man-made, and this was put here, and blah blah blah." But yeah, and then in the later seasons, because my dad would enjoy the show and stuff, and I was like, "They're never gonna find
No.
the Lost Ark or the Covenant and this and that." Like they found like old coins. And
Right.
You don't know if they were like put there or
Yeah.
whatever. It's like.
But that's what's intriguing to people is like it's not, and you know what, that's another thing too, is like I'll never chastise someone for watching a show like that, or even like, I hate to say it, but like Finding Bigfoot.
Oh,
Because,
it's
like,
interesting.
Yeah, and you know what, it's funny too. I remember a guy on like I've watched episodes of Finding Bigfoot, mind you. I remember a guy saying like very straight up, like, it's not about finding Bigfoot, it's about the hunt
Yeah.
and the friends that you have along the way. I'm thinking to myself, holy crap, that's got to be a great idea. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
these dudes, right, they get to go out into the wilderness, have fun, play with gadgets, and do all that stuff, and they're making God knows how much an episode.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Well, it's like the ghost hunters and stuff like
Yes.
that too. Yeah,
I was gonna
it's
say, I hate to admit it, but I've watched an unhealthy amount of Ghost Adventures.
yeah,
And-
it's just the unknown. Like
and
it's-
The reason is like, okay, straight up on the record, I don't believe in ghosts, but like the places they go, like Zach Bagans or
Yeah.
Bag, whatever his name is, the places they go
Like
are so
old-
freaking cool.
old prisons. and
Yeah,
stuff
man,
like
old
that,
prisons,
or
old like
asylums.
insane asylums.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, how much money would you pay to get into the insane asylum that's up in Harlem Valley, Wingdale?
Yeah, that'd
You know what I
be
mean?
cool. Yeah.
They should open that up and just start charging people tickets, because that in there, I've seen there was one legal documented walkthrough where someone was allowed to go in. They brought a camera and they showed like the different places and stuff
Okay.
like that. And there's a lot of other YouTube videos where people are in there that they're not
Yeah,
allowed
they're
to.
not supposed to be in there.
But man, that place is just like creepy and cool, and it's what do they call it on Reddit? Abandoned porn. You know what I mean? It's just like places like that where you get a glimpse back in the past is like.
Well,
I don't know.
yeah, you just imagine like what happened within these walls, and you could just picture in your mind like, oh, what could have happened here? Or,
Right.
Like, wow, that's crazy. This was set up like this, or whatever.
And I think places like that, like, there's that element of like, I don't know, people that were sick there, or people that could have died there, or whatever. It's like it has some sort of a weight to it. You know what I mean? When
Yeah.
you walk in, it's not just like walking in like, your own home or something.
No, yeah.
But like it gives it like an inherent creepiness.
Yep.
I mean, there's nothing creepier than like, an operating room that still has the light there, and like the tiles are like coming off the wall and shit like that. I mean, like having having just told you I don't believe in ghosts at all, I would not spend the night there. Even
No, yeah, it's just like you said, it's just a creepy factor about it. Like, you know.
right. I mean, I couldn't. You know, I know. Like, let's just assume like I had a gun so I could protect myself from animals. You know what I mean? Like, I would not spend the night there. Ever. I mean, I maybe for a lot of money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, even if you don't believe in ghosts, just bad energy, I guess.
Right.
Bad juju. Like it's just knowing what had happened there is just like gives
Right.
you the creeps, I guess. You know,
Right.
just like you said, thinking about bed bugs. You know, you getting all crawly.
Right.
Same
Right.
thing. Like just thinking about what happened there, you get
Yeah.
like like
It's
uneasy.
placebo.
I guess.
It's a placebo. People
Yeah.
are like influenced by certain things. Yeah, that makes sense.
Here, take this pill, cure your headache.
Yeah.
It's a sugar pill, though, JK.
Yeah. I remember thinking that there was a and there probably still is, but like some sort of like a business model behind like going out with friends and like photographing or documenting like abandoned places.
Yeah.
You know, because people are interested in that sort of thing, also. But I also feel like so many people do that shit for free. You know what I mean? They like find these places, they post it on like, on Reddit, on YouTube, or whatever it is, and I think it would be an interesting hobby because so many places like that exist, but I don't know if there's necessarily like a business behind it. You know what I mean?
Well, also, yeah, you would have to go through all the bells and whistles of getting legally being able to go into like
Yes, that's
these
probably the biggest
places
problem,
and
right?
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
probably because it's it's a insurance liability and all that
Yeah.
stuff. If you get hurt or whatever. Yeah.
I remember going. It was just hiking in Bear Mountain State Park.
Yeah.
And we came upon like it looked like an old like water treatment facility or dam or something like that, and we I don't think there was any signs, but
I
you
didn't
know,
see any
I mean,
signs.
I didn't see any signs. There's nothing that said don't go in here, but like we went in, we like clearly shouldn't be in here,
Yeah.
And
Obviously,
when you go around the corner, there was like something I found really cool. It's like a panel of like old gauges. You know what I mean? Like just like that thought that like, all right, there's so many gauges in here, but now like if you just had one iPhone or like one LED display, it could replace all of this.
Yeah.
It was like a wall of gauges and like levers and buttons and stuff like that. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh man, how how dumb were people?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I didn't invent the iPhone, so I mean, it's like just that alone is like it makes you feel a certain way when you see something like that. Like I don't know, like old gauges I like old locks I think are really cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I remember, not that I remember, but I started collecting and I still have just a few like old like just padlocks. Just like some of those like vintage looking padlocks.
Yeah, padlocks are cool. Skeleton keys. I
Mm.
collect, just the skeleton keys that I find in cleanouts and stuff. Those are always cool just to look at and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I like stuff like that too.
I think something like that too is like interesting because like people want to look at like that old history, but sometimes they don't want to go out and do it. So now people are like looking at videos of that stuff on YouTube or wherever. Just seeing people like explore, and it's like it should be more accessible too, but it does suck that it's like there's a liability of getting hurt because I think more people might like go out and like go for a hike if they can go through an abandoned building too and like see like what it was like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think most people like imagine the Titanic wasn't sunk in water or they took it out and like you could just walk through it. I think most people would walk through it.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just to see. Yeah, just to see everything.
Old banks too. I remember seeing one with like an old bank vault, like those big circular doors, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's like probably a few tons, you know what I mean? I want to have one of those in my house.
There was somebody that I heard of that they were buying up because I know you're interested in buying real estate and stuff, and they're buying real estate in the area, and they actually they bought a bank, and they made their house. They lived in the bank essentially.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh shit, that's so cool.
So they had I don't know what they made the vault or whatever. And it would be cool to make the vault like your bedroom or something. But they were living in the bank. It was pretty awesome to hear about.
It's funny that banks also they have like I don't know, like you said, like feel like I don't know. There's something interesting about going in an old bank. I'll tell you why too. In Albany, there is an old bank that they turn into a bar. So you can go in and then like
That's
they
really
turned
cool,
the
actually.
vault
Yeah.
into like a chill area. They actually had some games in it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just some like pinball or whatever the hell else it was. Um, and it's you know what it is. It's like it's well made. You know,
Yeah.
it's like you're going into a building that's like if a bomb falls, it might be okay if you go in the
Yeah.
vault. You know what I mean? And the place that Jen and I are getting married is an old bank. And
That's awesome.
the bridal suite or the groom suite, whatever it is, it's in the vault with one of those big doors.
That's really
You
cool.
know, so I just gravitate towards like old banks or something
I
like
never
that.
knew you were a bank guy.
I don't know, something about them. Like, okay, I mean, you've seen Harry Potter, right?
Yeah.
Like the Gringotts Bank or whatever
Yeah.
with all the
Yeah.
trolls or
The
whatnot.
goblins or whatever.
Yeah, that's how I wish a bank was. Like you
Yeah.
get on a train cart and like, all right, sir, your box is down this way, even though you know everyone wants to get in and get out. But
Yeah.
you know what I mean, like. And it's also the thought too that like, okay, you're into like treasure hunting. Like, imagine what's in like a safety deposit box in J.P. Morgan in Manhattan, like in basement floor level 5.
Yeah.
That you don't even like the elevator doesn't even go up to basement level 5. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine what's in there?
I know.
Like,
Yeah, I know.
incriminating shit, expensive shit. You know, probably things that like probably are expensive because they're incriminating. You know what I
You
mean?
trying to tell me you're taking a trip to basement level 5 over there?
No, you don't know anything about that. What's that movie where they broke into a bank vault and then they Jesus Christ, it was so good. They broke into
Talking about-
a bank vault,
They like
but
dug
then they
underneath,
shifted
or-
their costumes to the people that were in the bank, and eventually they shifted costumes so many times that when they eventually released the hostages, they couldn't tell who was hostages and who was bad people.
I remember. I
You
just
know what I'm
don't
talking
remember. Yeah, I don't remember the name of the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, they were trying to find some sort of like a secret or whatever, if I'm not mistaken. You know, and that movie was freaking great
Yeah.
because of the mystery that surrounds banks and what's in there. You know, I like it. All right, let's wrap this up, Munch. I think we're done with just about an hour or 56 minutes.
Okay.
So tell people once again, you know, where they can find you, name the business, all that stuff.
You can find me. I'm located right here in Mahopac. Business name is S.M.R. Scrap Metal Removers. It's
S.M.R. is way more sexy than scrap metal.
Yeah,
removers.
S.M.R. When I opened up the business, I named it Scrap Metal Removers because that's all I was doing at the time. I had just doing scrap metal, and
Tell us
then
people what you do. So.
I expanded. Yeah, I expanded. First, I started doing scrap metal. 2010, I opened the business. I was only doing scrap metal at the time. Had just one box truck, and then 2014. I got the roll-off, so now I do roll-off containers. I supply them to homeowners all around Mahopac or anywhere in Putnam and Dutchess. I don't go to Westchester, but do roll-off containers. I'll do clean-outs, junk removal, pick up scrap metal. You know, just do anything to make
And you
money,
guys have
essentially.
the Facebook page, right?
Yes, I have my Facebook page.
Do you have a website also, or is it
S.M.R. I used to have a website, but the Facebook page is much
Facebook page,
simpler.
huh.
Yeah, it
I
just
agree.
reaches the targeted crowd. So.
just gotcha. Do you guys do like you don't do like a Twitter or
No, I don't
any
do
of that
I
stuff?
don't do Twitter or anything. I just keep it simple.
Gotcha.
with Facebook.
Instagram. You should
Yeah.
do an Instagram.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people do it because it's just pictures.
Oh
you know what I mean?
yeah, I can
When you
put
find
all the
something cool or
pictures.
gross, you just insta it and put it up and
Yeah, put it on Facebook. Check out the Facebook page.
Yeah.
I have all the containers and what I've done and some clean outs up there and everything like that. So
cool. All right, brother. Thank you very much.
thank you
Bye,
very
everybody.
much for having me, sir.
No problem.